Is this your friend or is this your enemy? Ooh, isn't that a cool effect? Almost looks like I have a large set of eyes that just are kind of going like this. What this is a mirror. And I'm not talking about looking in a mirror to see if you've got green stuff in your teeth or to see if your eyes are yellow. No, we require a mirror. To me, a mirror represents the ultimate tool to be an effective leader. The mirror represents feedback. And without feedback, you cannot know if you are a good leader. And yet, like you, I'm assuming that you have this love-hate relationship with feedback. I love to hear feedback that tells me how great I am, how funny I am, what a good speaker I am, what an amazing person I am. Give me more of that. However, if you say, Ron, you need help in this area, or you could improve, or I don't think that that's the way you should do that, I react in a human way. I want to just say, don't tell me that. Don't say that. And yet, we need feedback. And you grew up from a baby with feedback. The adults in your life gave you feedback about whether you were acceptable or maybe not, whether you were loved, whether you were honored or not. And then we go to school, and guess what? We had a report card. We got criticized by our peers. You go into the workplace and you have a performance evaluation or review. That's feedback. Your car is a temple to the feedback principle. Try driving at night at midnight with your lights off and you can't tell how fast you're going. You can't tell whether you have gas. You would not be able to drive without feedback. And the same is true of us as not only human beings, but also of leaders. I'm not going to mention names, but we currently have a situation in a place called Washington, not the state I'm in, but the other Washington, where we have leaders who don't have any feedback. And they're in this huge bubble. And our thoughts, our concerns never get past that bubble. Everything they seem to be dealing with is inside this bubble. And that's clearly because of a lack of feedback. So how do you get feedback? If you are stuck and you want to be a good influencer, I would suggest that you learn from the example of Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an excellent tool to not only become a professional speaker or to be more articulate. I believe that Toastmasters' most powerful tool is feedback. Because every time you get up and give a presentation of a formal nature, whether it's 3 minutes or 20 minutes or longer, you immediately receive feedback. The audience tells you what they thought about your performance, your words, your mannerisms, how they were impacted by your words, whether your goals of the speech were effective or not. And you have a choice of either accepting that feedback or not. However, most people who go into Toastmasters love that mirror that's held up to see whether or not they're accomplishing what they set out to accomplish. And so this feedback becomes the tool to grow. And I've witnessed many speakers over the years through Toastmasters, whether they're professionals or just they wanted to do it just because for their career or their life. And the ones that accepted feedback and used it to improve, became very effective. Those that felt that it was meaningless or didn't care never really grew as speakers. On the other side, though, the feedback that the audience gives has a big impact as well. I've been in Toastmaster situations where the feedback was all praising and fawning and just everything, no matter what the speaker did, was great. There's no way as a speaker to learn from that. I've also been in situations where everybody in the audience was extremely critical and picked the speaker apart and just basically demean the self-esteem of the presenter. You also can't learn that way. We need balanced feedback. Feedback on what we're doing well and feedback on where we need to improve. And feedback is not criticism, so don't be afraid of it. Criticism is, you say to me, Ron, that's the ugliest vest I've ever seen. That color combination just doesn't work for you. I can't do anything with that information. It's useless to me. It's your opinion about how you think I should dress. So it's meaningless. However, if you say, Ron, as a speaker, you tend to elide your words. You tend to pause too long. Now I have information I can use. So if you are an influencer, you want to have impact on others. You want to be seen as a person who others perceive as a leader, or maybe you're in a leadership role and you're not getting the respect. You need feedback. And that's where I go back to Toastmasters. It's okay for a leader to swallow his or her pride and say to the people that they are leading, tell me how I'm doing. What am I doing that I need to improve? Of the things that I'm doing, how are they impacting you? What do you feel that I do good as a leader or I do well? And in those conversations with your followers, you will learn a lot about yourself. You also have an opportunity to exchange dialogue, conversation about maybe a misunderstanding. For instance, let's go back to the Toastmasters example. If a person tries to be a speaker and they have a lisp and it's just something that they cannot do anything about, there's no use in criticizing that speaker for that. You as a listener need to get beyond that and help that person grow as a speaker. Same thing with as a leader. You might be the technical expert who just has a difficult time starting conversations, or you don't like small talk, or possibly just when people start getting into their emotions, is just one of those ones where you want to tune out. That doesn't make you a bad leader. However, you need to understand the impact it has on the people that you serve, the people that are following you. And in those conversations about how well you are doing as their leader, you can then have a conversation and maybe help them understand that that's how you feel about relationships, or that's how you haven't learned how to deal with conflict. And hopefully then you'll take that information and grow your skills so the next time you are better. Please do not be afraid of feedback. The worst place for a leader to be is in a bubble. And I say, unfortunately, from my experience, and I have a lot of experiences, probably over 50 years worth, though I'm only 28, those experiences with leaders I have seen ones who wanted feedback. They craved feedback. And I've seen others that said, no feedback, stay away from me. You know the people that I really admired were those that were vulnerable, those that were honest, those that wanted feedback because they cared. The ones that said no feedback, they were like the image of the three monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. So I want you to be a leader, an influencer that people are worth following, that people want to believe in, that people trust, that people will just be loyal to you. That's what I want for you. Start with feedback. Find ways of accepting feedback. Go to the people that you serve. And if you want to use a prompt like this, say, hey, I need some feedback. Tell me how I'm doing. So, in conclusion of this, I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts, feedback on how I'm doing on this Facebook Live. It's just this opportunity to have a conversation and speak off the cuff. By the way, most of this information I have for you is totally unscripted. It's what comes to mind, though I do have a theme. And so if you do have questions, let me see if there's any questions here from the people who are watching. I do have some friends serving, but no questions so far. So again, if you have that love-hate relationship with feedback, get over yourself. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Those words came from The 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard. And I grabbed onto them early in my career, and I have held onto them, and they have served me well, and I pass that wisdom on to others. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. And if you want to feel like a champion, or as my friend Earl Bell says, you want to feel a winner, you want to be that person that people want to follow, don't be afraid of feedback. Until next time, this is Ron Rael signing off.